I just couldn't wait to get out of school, get on the mini moto, and then same for the weekend. I couldn't wait to just get riding on the bike. So yeah, I just fell in love with it straight away. But at the same time, I've always been into loads of different sports. I've always been quite an active kid. Be either a disaster or a crash or something like that. But you'd always have two fingers on the clutch waiting for something to happen. Just all the time. It's just like a buzz to ride the 125, because when you've got a lap perfect, when you get all the markers and change gear at the right time,
if you love what you do, you never work on a daily life.
Exactly that. Yeah, no, 100%. So true. So true. Which is, it is, isn't it? But people always moan about their jobs and working 9 to 5 or doing it all. But if you're doing the job that you love doing, and the job that you're doing as a kid, then it shouldn't feel like a job. You know, it's like that's your life, that's your passion.
I'm Tristan. This is my podcast where we like to, we're trying to discuss. It doesn't matter whether you're a businessman, stuntman, racer, or you're an actor. Is one thing that is to me is the core similarities is you've all got to have motivation. You've all got to basically set goals and just take action and get on with it. So today I have Brad Ray with me. So thank you very much for coming.
Pleasure, mate, pleasure.
So I just thought we'd start by telling me a bit more of how did it start for you? How did you get involved in the racing?
So the racing side of things for me was I started just as a young kid. I got a bike for Christmas off my parents.
Yeah.
My parents have always been into bikes, always sort of gone and watched World Superbikes, watched BSB and been involved. Never raced themselves, but always really enjoyed racing and been to watch the old school races, and got a bike for Christmas. Rode it around the garden. Didn't really go too well for me. Went straight into the shed. And had a few big crashes, and yeah, just carried on riding. Really, I enjoyed it the first time I went on it. I really enjoyed it, and back then I think the first time you could race officially was 5 years old, and I was maybe 3.5, 4 when I first got the first bike. So we just went through car parks in the garden and done bits like that and started the basics. And then once I turned 5, then we went to the championship, the mini moto championship, which was Fab Racing, which is still going on now. Went to there, done my first sort of couple of novice races. Absolutely fell in love with riding. Couldn't wait to finish school, because we used to go maybe 2 or 3 times a week down to the local track in Lyd.
Okay.
Lucky enough back then we had sort of the keys to the gate, so we went after school, rode till it was dark, locked the gate up and went home. And I just couldn't wait to get out of school, get on the mini moto, and then same for the weekends. I couldn't wait to just get riding a little bike. But I just fell in love with it straight away. But at the same time, I've always been into loads of different sports. I've always been quite an active kid. Yeah. And back then I was really into football as well. Both football and racing, and we'd sort of do like football at weekends, and mini moto would be like during the week. And then it started to get like quite a lot for my mum and dad to do both all the time. So we sort of sat down and said, what do you enjoy more? Would you like to carry on going down the mini moto route, or would you want to sort of carry on with football? And I said straight away, riding bikes, because I enjoyed it a lot more. I enjoyed football because it was a good crack, but racing was like there was something that lit inside me when I was riding, that I just wanted to.
Basically, that's your true passion.
Yeah, for sure. So just carried on through all the little stages you would as a kid. So the smaller bikes, and then once you go through different categories on the mini motos, then you move on to sort of the bigger wheeled bikes, which was the Metric 50s. Okay. In the same championship, so I stayed in the same championship for basically my whole sort of youth career. We've done some different championships. We've done a few of the Scottish championships and a few other championships around the UK, but the main one was to stay into Fab. And then just moved up through the Metric 50s, Metric 70s, and then that was sort of the end of that championship. Then we moved on into doing a little bit in Spain. I think we've done a Metric 80 championship. Me and Kyle actually both went to Spain, I think in 2008 or 9. Yeah. went to Spain, done the Metric 80 Championship, which was good, but was difficult because like back then it was difficult for our parents to afford to do the championship to the best of the ability. So we done the best we could there, but realised the best option was to come back to England after that year. And back then you had to start as a novice in say like the MRO Championship or BSB, which was a championship that still goes now. You had to finish a certain amount of races in certain positions to get points on your license. Yeah. And then once you reach 10 points, you then get your national race license. So we had to come back and do a championship to get all our points, which we done through the end of 2009 through to 2010. Once we got the license and everything was all okay, then in 2011 I moved to BSB on the 125s.
Okay.
Done the 125s and sort of stayed in BSB really.
Am I right in thinking that the 125s, that class was 125s and 250s, one was 4-stroke, one was 2-stroke?
It started, that first started in 2012, so they brought out the Motor 3s in 2012 I think, and they done a rule where you could ride either the 125 2-stroke or the Motor 3 4-stroke. So I done both. I actually done both in BSB. I done the 125s and also done the Motor 3 as well. So had a bit of.
Did you find a difference in like? Was one better or worse, or were they pretty much both?
The Motor 3 was an easier bike to ride.
Okay.
An easier bike to ride fast as well. More forgiving, and lap times were faster.
Right.
Most of the time were faster, but enjoyment side of things, the 125 was just unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, because it's such a high revving bike. You have to be so perfect with it, so everything has to be so perfect. Like your gearing has to be perfect, your corner speed has to be perfect. Whereas a Motor 3, if you went into a corner in the wrong gear, it's got so much power and so much grunt that you could just make your way out of it, not lose too much time. But the 125s, you had to be pinpoint accurate all the time. Yeah. And there was always this worry of because you run them so far on the limit to get the maximum power, that a lot of the times they'd seize up, so they'd lock up and it would be either like a disaster or a crash or something like that. But you'd always have 2 fingers on the clutch waiting for something to happen, just all the time. And it was just like a buzz to ride the 125s, because when you got a lap perfect, when you hit all your markers and change gear at the right time, it was just such a good feeling. Yeah,
and because so I'm assuming then so obviously the 125s, that is the bike to learn on, because like you say, you can't really make mistakes. You got to do everything so right.
Yeah, no, it is, and I think it was easier. It was good being on the 125, and then when I got the chance to ride the Moto 3, I went even faster because of what I learned on the 125. I had to be so pinpoint perfect that I carried that onto the Moto 3. Yeah. And when I rode that in a certain way, it was like the next level. Yeah.
And then where from there? Where did it go to?
So from 2012, I got into the Red Bull Rookies. Yep. We done the Red Bull Rookies in 2012, 2013, and 2014. Yep. So done that for 3 years, and in between that time, I'd done the Red Bull Rookies and BSB in 2012. Yeah. So both together. Then 2013, we decided to do Red Bull Rookies and the Spanish Championship. Okay. Because I wanted to. My whole dream as a kid was to be in MotoGP. So I wanted to stay on that sort of size bike, the Moto 3, the GP chassis. I wanted to stay around that era and try and make my way into Moto 3. So I tried to do Red Bull Rookies, the Spanish Championship on the Moto 3. They were my main 2 goals, and then if I had a weekend free or had some time, I'd come back to BSB and do a round here and there just to keep riding. And I'd done that for 2013, 2014, hoping that I'd get a chance to sort of move into MotoGP or into Moto 3 at one point, or get a good enough ride in the Spanish Championship to fight for a championship there, and then move into Moto 3 that way, because I always just wanted to make my way to Moto 3. But yeah, things weren't going to plan that year. It was difficult. Red Bull Rookies was difficult. Spanish Championship was difficult because back then, and it's even the same now, we got a goodish ride, but we had to pay a hell of a lot of money to be there. And if you wanted to be in the top 2 teams to fight for the championship, you had to go 250,000 euros.
Wow.
Which for us and the family was like impossible. So we'd done a little bit. We put in as much as we could, got the best bike that was possible, but it just wasn't enough to compete with the top guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, done that for a couple of years, just hoping I'd find a way into Moto3, but that ended up being difficult. So 2015 we tried sort of like a strange style bike in Moto2 actually, because I grew quite a lot at the end of 2014. I started to get quite a bit taller.
Yeah. And
I thought maybe if I go down the 600 Moto2 route, it might be a bit easier for me to be a little bit faster. I was losing a bit of time down the straights. So we done some Spanish Championship on a Moto2, but the bike wasn't much cop, and to be honest, I wasn't enjoying it a lot. So we done a few rounds, knocked it on the head. Said, right, it looks like now the Moto2 or the Moto3 route is going to be difficult to try and make something of it. So we ended up coming back to BSB in the end of 2015. Done some stock 6 races just as like a satellite rider, done a few races, and then the next year, which was 2016, Roger, my manager back then, Roger and Steve Keys, we decided to sort of build a super sport bike and have like a real good go of BSB. Yeah. Because all the times I've done BSB, I've never fully done it, never done a full championship. So I've done maybe five rounds out of 12 and never actually stayed in BSB.
That kind of like just keeping your foot in the door and then, but going out. That's what you wanted to do, but you needed to. Exactly. Yeah. I wanted to carry on riding in BSB because track time was good and I enjoyed it. But my goal was always to be in Moto3, so I just tried to do everything in that direction. Realise that's probably not going to work out now, so I need to come back to BSB, make a career in the British Championship. So we decided to build a team. Roger, the whole of Fab Racing sort of built a team. We got the bike from Steve, and then built like a super sport bike. And yeah, basically just run it out the back of an awning. And then had an unbelievable year. The first few rounds were difficult, and then started to make some moves. Won a few races, got a few poles, and then by the end of the year, if I didn't have such a bad start, it got close to me fighting for the championship towards the end of the year. I nearly got second in the championship, but ended up being third. I think maybe 40 points behind Taz, who won the championship that year. So I said, right, next year I want to get a championship under my belt, because I've been here, there, and everywhere. I've never settled in one championship. I want to try and knuckle down and get something, and then maybe then in the future it would help me. So I said to Roger and Steve, I said, and my parents, let's just keep everything we've got. We've got the bike, we've got the infrastructure. We've learnt loads this year. Let's go next year, 2017, and fight for a championship. So he was like, yeah, that's it, done. And then it was a funny time. I actually got a call on the 23rd of December, I think it was. Just a random number. I was out for breakfast with my family, and this random number called, and I had a voicemail afterwards, and I listened to the voicemail. He said, "Hi mate, it's Stuart Hicken from Bilbay Suzuki. What's your plans next year? We'd like to offer you a superbike ride for 2017. I was like, what do I do now? Because like my aim was to be British Supersport champion. I wanted to be a champion, and my sort of goals were set on that. But then I had this call of Stuart, who obviously run the superbike team, a couple of days before Christmas, and thought, right, what do I do? Like, I'd sit down with Roger, I'd sit down with my parents, said like, what do I do? And in the end, I said, you know what, I can't sit here and turn down a superbike ride, because I might not get a chance again. Exactly. So that Christmas, rang him back, said, "Oh, Stuart, yeah, I'd love to get the opportunity to ride for you." And obviously back then it was when Suzuki were first coming out again, with the new bike. So yeah, just went into 2017 as like a superbike rider. So it was a weird time.
like I say, you don't know if that opportunity will ever come again. So
no, exactly.
And sometimes this is the biggest, or I think can make a lot of people's success stories, is it's about seeing that opportunity there.
Yeah.
Like I say, if you didn't take it, would you have gone this way? What would have happened?
Yeah, no, it's difficult. I mean, yeah, I thought about it. It took me a couple of weeks really to make the decision, because I was so set on Supersport that I really wanted to win it. I really wanted to prove to people and to myself that I could win the Supersport Championship, and I really wanted to carry on, because I was really enjoying it. The team, it was like a family run team. We'd just go there, have a good crack and win some races, and I really enjoyed it. But then I thought, I need to, I want to be in BSB.
Yeah.
I want to be BSB champion. That's like, if I go to BSB and do really well, then my options are even bigger.
Exactly.
So I thought, right, it's going to be difficult the first year in BSB, new bike, new team, I'm still quite young. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to take the offer, and yeah, never look back. And it was probably for me the best solution and the best decision.
So for you then, is how do you do you set goals? Is like, because like one thing we always have been brought up to do is every year, literally, it's like you get a lot of people, what's it, New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
We've never done that. It's like, this is our plan for the year, this is our goals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that as well, or how do you set out, obviously you know where you want to be, how do you then get there?
It's a difficult one, because you always know where you want to be. There's always that end goal.
Yeah.
But the route there is like, it can
like
be
you say, suddenly you get a call and it's like,
yeah, it's like zigzag. It can go up there, down there, and you always have that one goal. My goal as a kid was to be in MotoGP and be a MotoGP rider. I realise now that that's a really slim chance. I tried to make my way in there, but that's not going to happen. So for me at the minute, I want to be a world superbike champion, and that's my aim. I want to be a world champion of some sort.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm trying to make decisions, do the best I can to make that happen.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's a difficult situation, because I always try and look back to my roots as a kid, as to why I started racing, and it was because I enjoyed it. I absolutely love riding my bike.
Yeah.
And then once I started winning, I absolutely love winning, and that's what drove me to success.
That's what gives you the fire.
It just gives me fire, and lining up on the grid, giving everything you can, and the end goal is to win a race.
Yeah.
That's why we go racing, to win. And ultimately, you always have that goal of, I want to be world champion, I want to be at the top of everything. But for me at the moment, I think I just want to enjoy my racing still. I want to go out, have fun. I want to get to a point where I'm winning races again and fighting for championships, because that's where I get that buzz and that inner feeling from. So as long as I'm in that environment and I'm doing the best I can, then whether it's BSB, whether it's World Superbikes, whether it's MotoGP, as long as I'm at the top of the game, winning races and enjoying it, that's what I'm thriving from.
So for you, do you have any other avenues? Because I know obviously some some riders, they go down, I know some fly planes, some fly helicopters, and like going down that route.
Yeah.
Or like Steve Parrish, he flies a plane, but also for like business wise, he's quite an entrepreneur where he has a number of different properties and stuff like that, which funds what he enjoys.
Yeah.
Have you got any other interests, or for you is it right now you just want to solely really focus on racing? And
yeah, I think at the minute I'm just solely focused on racing. I enjoy other things. I enjoy doing other things, but my main focus is racing, and to be the best I can be at that.
Yeah.
I think when you get further down your career, when you start getting a bit older and you start looking more towards the retirement age of when you may be stopping, then it might be time to look into doing other things, investments and stuff like that. But at the moment, I need to keep my full concentration on racing. If I start thinking about, if I start doing this and that and investing in this and maybe, I don't know, flying a helicopter or doing that, if it will start going away from what I'm focused on. So I try and stay in my lane, do what I need to do to be professional, and yeah, just give it the best shot, because I don't want to get to a stage in my career and look back and think, oh, do you know what, I wish I'd done this, or I wish I'd done that. If I'd done this, then I maybe would have ended up here, or I want to go do the best I can, and then at the end of my career say to myself, right, Brad, you've done everything you could. That was it. There's no page unturned that you could have done any different. Do you know what I mean? So I want to get to that point. And I've always been the same. Even school days when I was growing up, you'd get teachers saying, "Oh, what do you want to be when you're older?" I said, "I'm going to be a motorbike racer. I want to race motorbikes and be professional." I said, "Oh, you're going to need a degree. You're going to need to go to college. You're going to need to go to uni. You need GCSEs." I just looked and said, "Look, I'm coming to school. I'll sit in your class, but all I want to do is race motorbikes." And I'll be quiet.
I'm here to tick a box.
Exactly, yeah. I'm here to tick a box. I'm not here to do GCSEs. I'm not here to do whatever. But yeah, I've always had that main focus on racing. And yeah, people always say, "Oh, what happens if it doesn't work?" Well, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. At the moment, I'm solely focused on racing and making it happen.
There's so many what ifs.
There is, yeah, in life.
And you just lived on them, you wouldn't do anything.
Exactly, 100%, yeah.
So what goes into training? So obviously, like after like speaking to Connor, like Cummins and people like that, it's not just, it looks easy just going and ride a bike, but the amount of training you have to do just physically to get you prepared. What do you have to do like for that? What goes into that?
Yeah, training side of things differs from people to people. People have their own way of training and being fit, but yeah, it takes a lot of. It's hard work training all the time. But I say it's hard work. As a professional motorcycle racer, all you have to do is wake up, train, do what you need to do in the day, train, eat healthy, and yeah, sleep well, make sure your body's in good condition, and basically do everything you can, because the last thing you want is to feel lazy. So you get to a race weekend, you turn up at the grid, or you turn up and you think, oh, do you know what, last week I didn't really do a lot of training, or I didn't maybe do as much as I should have done, and then that plays in the back of your mind. Then you go out for like a session or a race, and you come back in and you may feel a bit tired, and you think, right, I'm tired because I didn't train last week, or didn't do as much as I should have done. So for me, it's always been I do as much as I feel I need to do. So training wise, I do the maximum I can throughout the week. I prepare myself, and then when I get to the race weekends, I tell myself, you've done enough. You've done enough training. You're as fit as anyone on the grid. You're in good shape. So, and I think fitness side of things, all athletes are fit. All motorcycle racers are fit, because we have to be. It's part of the job. Everyone has their certain ways of training, whether it's cycling, running, gym work. There's so many different sort of avenues you can go down. And people say, oh, that works for them, that works for them. You find what works for yourself, and what makes you feel good in yourself, and what makes you strong. But as long as you turn up fit, which you're going to do, but the mental side of things. So if you turn up mentally strong, I think a lot of racing is in the mind, and you turn up in a good mindset, then the rest of the weekend will be good.
I was going to ask that is, that's what I was going to ask was, do you think that majority, not only are you getting like strong or whatever it is to ride the bike, but it's how you feel in yourself. If you feel like you're on top of the world, it's nothing. I'm not sure if you think the same, but let's say you're having a bad day and you focus on that crap going on, your day just goes even worse. But you start just thinking about just a little bit of a good thing. Your day starts picking up, and you've forgotten about what you even what even went wrong in the start. And that's probably the same sort of thing. Because otherwise, if you're thinking negatively, I'm going to guess it's going to impact. You might make the most simplest of mistakes, which can lead to a drastic mistake.
No, you've got to always think positive, and always try and find positive, even on a bad race weekend, even on a real bad day. There's always a positive to take from it. There's always a positive to sort of find out. If you have a bad weekend or a bad race or a bad session, why is it bad? Like, why has that gone bad? And then turn that bad into like a positive to make it good. So right, okay, I understand that. next session need to do this, and then just always try and make sure your mind's in a good place, because you're always going to be physically in a good shape, you're always going to be physically fit, but if your mind's not on the game and you don't feel mentally strong, then that's going to be the difference. It's not going to be because you didn't train last week, because if you do one extra day or one less day, physically it's not going to make a lot of difference because you're already in good shape. But if your mind's not in a good place and you're not mentally strong, or you're doubting a situation, then that's what's going to cause you the problems throughout a race weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. What's one thing that, or what's the best bit of advice you would say you've ever been given, just in general? It could be to do with the racing, or it could be something that could apply to anything.
I think advice, I'd say, you can in racing, it's always difficult. It's always going to be difficult. You're going to have bad days, probably more bad days than good days. But as long, like my dad always says, mum and dad always say, just go out and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Go out and enjoy, have fun, keep smiling, and the bad days are what make the good days even better.
Yeah.
So you've always got to. I always just, I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but I always just try and, when I'm having a bad day or a bad race or a few bad sessions, I always try and look back at why I started racing, and why I enjoyed it so much, and I try and get that feeling back in me and think, right, I do this because I love it.
Yeah.
I go out there because it makes me smile and it like brings me alive, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when you get down that professional route, it becomes a job, and you're paid to perform at the end of the day. You're paid to do the best job possible, and once you get to that stage, it then it all starts to take that little bit of fun out of it, which you had at the start, which is just put your helmet on, go out, ride, come back in with a smile. But you've got to try and put that into your job as well, because even a bad day at our job is better than an unbelievable day as like a normal job sort of thing. So you've always got to try and relate that to racing, and that's what I changed a little bit in 2022, was my mindset, and I just went out every day, every session, and loved it. Even training is a difficult part of racing. Like, it's hard to wake up and go for a 100-mile cycle, or like, but wake up with a smile, go and get it done. Once you've got it done, you come back, you feel good, you're like, right, I'm on top, I'm on top of everything. And then the same for race weekends. Just keep smiling. If you have a bad session, why'd you have a bad session? Change it, change the mindset, go again in FP2. And it's what sort of helped me through 2022 season. And always just try and relate back to being a youngster and just putting my helmet on, having fun, enjoying riding the bike, because it's you, the bike, the track when you're out there. Like, you don't worry about fans, you don't worry about the team. You're just thinking about what you're doing at that moment, and I just try and take that all the time.
And you'll probably agree with this, but one thing I was always taught is, if you love what you do, you never work another day in your life.
Exactly that. Yeah. So, no, 100%. So true. So true. Which is, it is, isn't it? But people always moan about their jobs and working 9 to 5 or doing what they do. But if you're doing the job that you love doing, and it's a job that you've dreamed of doing as a kid, then it shouldn't feel like a job. It's like that's your life, that's your passion, and you just put everything into it.
So would you ever go and do like road racing, like the TT or something like that?
No, for me it's never really been.
Not appealed for you?
No, I enjoy it. I take my hat off to people who do it, but I think for that side of racing, the TT, Northwest, all the road racing, it's got to be like a different sort of passion. Like, you've got to grow up around it, I'd say, and in yourself, like, really want to do it, because it's mental. It is completely dangerous, but
the risk factor is just,
the risk factor's mad. And I think you've got to have a different mindset. For me, like, racing in BSB or racing in general, I go out on track, I go from the first corner, I go 110% as fast as I can, and I go to the limit and beyond the limit, because that's the way I ride. But I think the TT, when you go out of pits, you maybe do the first lap at 60%, and then you do the next lap 70, 80, and you probably don't ever get to 100%. You're always riding within yourself. And for me, anything that I do, I go out and I go 110% because I want to just go as fast as I can. And I think that mindset wouldn't work very well at like a road race, because if you made a mistake, it wouldn't be very good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. One simple thing could just be a massive disaster.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I always find anyone that does that, the balls they must have on them, just balls of steel.
It is impressive, and I think hats off to all the top guys that do that, and obviously when you watch it in real life or watch the onboard, you think, oh Jesus, but they probably are riding within themselves a little bit. They're not fully at the limit, so they're in a little bit of control, but even so, it's small minor things that
It's like for me, I remember chatting to Connor, and it was when he crashed and went off the mountain. It's like, how do you not only ride around a track like that, but then crash, go through what you went through, and then still get back on and do it again?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I think for them sort of people, that is their racing. Like we go down the MotoGP or the World Superbike route, they go down the roads route, and that's their thing in the racing side of things. But I suppose it's the same for everyone. You always have like a crash, and you get up, and the next day you think, oh, I'm sore. That was a big one. But by the time you're healed, you're like, right, let's go again. Because that's just you almost just block that out of your mind. You know when you ride a bike that at any point you could end up crashing, you could end up hurting yourself. But that's right at the back of your mind, in a tiny little place that you never visit. Like it's there. People know it's there, but it's never talked about. It's just the back of your mind.
You've got to keep it there.
You just just go.
So here's one thing people really always like asking this is, what's one thing that no one knows about you? It could be something you like, it could be something, it could be anything.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
That no one knows. I have to have a think,
Yeah, it could be just as simple as your favourite food, whatever. Just one thing no one knows. So I can't remember. I was speaking to the Mackenzies. I can't remember what they came out with.
What did they come up with?
I'm certain they both dropped their dad in it. I'm certain that's what they did. Yeah, I can't remember what it is now. It's only a couple of weeks ago, but I'm certain they just dropped him in it.
Oh, really?
I think it was. I think that was the bit where we're about nicking his friend's mum's car. When he was when they were youngsters. Because I think because he used to work on farms. I'm certain that's what he said. He was the only one that could drive, so he used to just take it out and then go pick up their friends outside the school. And then I'm certain they said someone then reported them, and then the police were waiting there and had to jump out and run or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a difficult one. I don't know.
Do you think you would ever take up flying or something like that, or go down another route? Or
I don't think so. No.
Have you ever liked cars? Like looked at that? Or has it always just been bikes?
Just bikes, always. Yeah. I've never really been into cars as such. Never sort of. I obviously go karting as a kid, as you do, but I've never really been massively into cars. I like oldish cars. I like slamming cars and like stupid wheels and like having it as low as possible so it can't go over speed bumps. I love stuff like that. Even now, I still love stuff like that. But even flying and things. I've never been interested in flying anything myself.
Right.
Helicopters actually scare me a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been in one. I'd like to, but I think I always have this feeling that a plane, if the engine fails or something, you've got the wings, so you can always just try and glide down to something. But if the helicopter stops turning, there's only one way, and it's down in it. So
because that's funny actually, because I had the same perception on that. But the there's pros and cons for both, because exactly you're right, is you've got the wings.
Yeah.
But with a plane, is let's say for instance the engine did fail. Yeah, you got wings, you can glide, but you've got to land that, you've got to have a long field or something, or a road, or it's like I remember seeing someone land, I think it was the M25 or something. You know, you've got to have a long stretch to bring that down, even with no engine. Whereas a helicopter, basically, yes, you come down quick. So I fly at a circuit level is about 750 to 800 feet. Yeah. As long as the gearbox doesn't fail, you could bring that helicopter down.
Really?
So let's say the engine fails. As long as the gearbox, obviously, if that seizes, then the rotor blades will stop. So then you will just drop. But if, for instance, as long as for instance, when you're practicing called auto rotation, which is basically you bring the helicopter down with no engine. Yeah. So what you do is you drop it to idle. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, driving a car, riding a bike, and then just pulling the clutch in. Yeah. Just goes to literally idle, and then but as long as you've got that, the rotors are spinning. You just keep them spinning. So at 750 feet, before you hit, I think it's 30 seconds before you hit the floor. Again, you can control that by going faster to go further or slowing it down, which you can actually, I've done this as well, you can bring it. It's mad the fact to do it, because when you do a practice auto rotation, for the license now, you don't actually have to land it.
Right.
Back in the day, from my understanding, you had to actually land it with no engine. But they had that many write-offs.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it's that dangerous. You only have to bring it to, like, I don't know, 8-10 feet off the ground, whatever it is, and then you act as if you're going to land it. And then to do a running landing, you do it with the engine. Right. So they would bring it back on. Then all you do is practice a running landing. Yeah. So basically, all you do is you bring it to, I think it's about 65 knots. Again, if you go faster, you go slightly further, but then your rate of descent's quicker. Yeah. But if you go slower, you don't go as far, but your rate of descent's slower. Right. So you can actually pretty much, with no engine, come down just like that. It's like, or the average is like that. And then all you do at the end is, when you're coming down, and all you do is you lift up the nose, which then the wind comes out, which is then slowing you down, and then just before you touch, you then drop it forwards, and it runs across the ground. It's mad to...
So you're probably actually safer to be on a helicopter than you are on an aeroplane.
So it's, like I say, it's you can land it, and so someone told me once, they knew someone that actually landed the helicopter on the actual helipad with no engine. It's like you can really, if you've got control, again, wind's a massive thing as well. Is if you don't have much wind, that can affect it. Yeah. But yeah, you actually land it on an actual helipad with no engine. So it is mad what you can do. Yeah. Like I say, for me, it is pros and cons, because let's say the gearbox fails on the plane, doesn't matter. You know, because of the fact that you got the wing, it's the wings that guide you. On this, you're relying on the fact that then rotors still spin. Yeah. So it is actually quite relatively safe in a way. Yeah. Because like I say, you can land in a lot of smaller area than what a plane can. Because let's say you're flying over loads of houses, you've got no chance to be fair, you've got no chance in either, really. Yeah. Unless you're that skewed and lands on the garden.
You've got more chance in a helicopter, haven't you, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting actually, and that's what I love. I love the mechanics of things. Yeah. I love, like bikes for instance, is what makes a bike perform better. Why? Because I can never wrap my head around. It's like, because obviously you've got the limits on what you're allowed to do on a bike, for instance, in the race. Is how can having more money actually affect that? But I'm assuming just by having more money, you could buy more tyres. You're not running on old ones on practice and stuff like that. Would that make?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, more budget, more teams with more budget can obviously get more parts, more up to date parts. Spend a bit more on tyres. Can maybe have more engines, so your engine's more fresh. And little things like crew as well. You can pay better crew chiefs, people like that who are obviously more experienced, which helps the job. But yeah, sometimes factory teams or more better off teams will, if you smash a bike to bits, they'll rebuild it to the exact spec as what you've raced. If you go with a lower team that you smash a bike to bits, you might end up with, I don't know, different handlebars, because maybe you had one set of the good ones. Sometimes you might smash a swing arm. Look, it's obviously expensive for a factory swing arm, and I've had it in the past where I've had to race
completely standard swing, like
Yeah.
off a road bike, because I damaged the good one. So little things like that, which obviously separate the more budgeted
Yeah.
teams. But I think nowadays in BSB it's getting a lot better with the rules, to try and bring the lower teams close to the factory teams,
Yeah.
especially with testing. You only have to do a certain amount of testing.
I guess, and just to make it a bit fairer.
A bit fairer, so the lower teams can have more a chance of having a good result.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they're there wanting to do the best job possible. They're there.
You're all there for the same reason, as you said, to win.
Exactly, to win. That's it. That everyone goes there to win, and whether you're a factory team or a satellite team, somebody behind the scenes is paying X amount of money to advertise their branding on your bike. So if you're a satellite team and you're getting paid X amount to run a team, the sponsor behind it obviously wants to see decent results. So
Exactly.
they just want to try and bring it all a little bit closer together, which is slowly coming down. The same World Superbikes, but the budget there is obviously a lot more. With all the teams, even satellite teams, a bit more budget. But yeah, it's a difficult thing for smaller teams to try and compete with the factory teams, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible to do. But yeah, it's just sort of the way I think it's the same in every sport, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly.
It is the same.
Well, no, I really appreciate your time.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
no, thank you very much. We'll go grab a coffee.
Yeah,
And,
bang on.
well, no, thank you very much.
Spot on. Thank you very
Cheers.
much. Appreciate that.